Guys, seen the minutes?
I did. I didn't see any corrections.
Okay, Jerry?
Second.
Oh, that's my motion.
Okay.
To approve it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Wayne?
Once again, nothing jumped out at me. How about you?
Same thing here, didn't see nothing. Gary? Very good. No?
Okay, well, then I make a motion to approve the claims.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No,
We have one ARPA one in there,
that was for $2.
yep, for $4,428.
Okay, that needs to be separate.
Yep.
Okay. Motion to approve True North, the ARPA funds.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
A new folder.
Well, it's getting a little,
Little
Slow
free.
down.
A little crunchy?
spending the big bucks on you, giving you a new folder.
Oh, boy. Okay.
So is this a change order that we were told we're no longer gonna have any additional change orders on?
Correct.
Okay. All right, I was just asking.
And then we got one right away.
Yeah.
Luckily.
Yeah, what happened there?
This is supposed to be the last one.
We weren't even supposed to have it.
Oh. What are they doing exactly?
It says in there, different antennas, they're taking off, putting new ones on, down here, Traeger.
No,
Instead of having something about four different signals, they're gonna have 8.
why are they having so many signals?
Well, we were gonna have secondary roads gonna come in here.
Oh,
They
yeah.
weren't planning on them, so we started thinking fire and rescue and sheriff's department. Now secondary roads, they wanna keep open if something else
Add
comes
something
along.
additional.
Yep. The way I got it. I mean, I understand, it's 39,000, whatever it is, the change order.
39, 8, 40,000. So,
Working on the sheriff's office today as we speak.
I mean, I did write them towers yesterday.
Yep.
Pike was walking out and he could hear voices and I'm like, we're up there.
Yes,
so is secondary roads they're not gonna be on the same signal?
They're gonna be not on the same frequency, they'll be on the same signal, yes.
Okay. So they're not gonna be able to hear the sheriff's office?
No.
No.
Okay. I guess there ain't anything you can do about it. Unless we don't put them on.
Well, obviously it gives us a little expansion into it, so make the motion that we approve the change order.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
We can use that this afternoon. A little bit.
What was he not reading?
Oh, it's 39.
39,810 and change.
$39,810.23.
Can't leave the 23 cents off.
So you did.
Yeah, I have to scan it back to him.
Okay, we're gonna start that already. Set the date, consider the EMS initial service in Benton County. I'll kind of combine this together. Me and Haley went to their meeting, last Wednesday night. And what this ends about is about getting them on the where they get a little tax dollar money. And I believe we were talking that night, or they were talking that night, like 35 cents, weren't they, per thousand?
I'm thinking the max is 75 cents, but that's gonna be the surtax for countywide, but it has to go in front of the voters, so we're leaning towards, I think they're shooting to get it on the general of 24.
So is that, based on population?
Right now, because there's no way
Or-
for like us to follow fire district boundaries for valuation wide, it's just gonna be a countywide valuation. And that we would have to create a special fund for that, kind of like lost. And then we would
So,
allocate it out, but that advisory council. So this is gonna be our first step, which if you remember, I think it was over a year ago, we passed a resolution, but we have to publish that 60 days prior, and we have to have readings on that. So we found that out, so we
so
gotta
this
do a
is
public.
35 cents per thousand, is that
I
what we're
think,
talking?
but they haven't discussed all that yet, so that'll come once you guys approve this resolution. Then you guys will appoint members to that advisory council. And then the advisory board council will be the ones that set the rates and limits, and then they'll come forward with more recommendations.
So it's gonna be based on valuation,
Yeah, yeah,
not population.
correct.
Okay.
And I don't know if they'll, do it by calls, I mean, because some of those area ambulances are outside of the county,
Yeah.
but they're serving our residents, so. It'll
Be
be,
like before.
I mean, it's a pretty important thing right now with us rural communities when we don't have enough ambulance services to be, you know, you guys have some first responders or something, but
Yep.
some parts of the county, they don't have something nearby, so they have to sit and wait.
Yeah, if you didn't know.
So like Blairstown, we got our own ambulance,
Yeah, you don't have first responders.
and we fund that. I mean,
The city does.
well, the population does, well, the city does too. I mean,
They have to get their dollars somewhere, but it's in the city.
there's a lot of donations.
Most of them are pretty
You
much.
see, that's the way New Hall first responders does. They get a little bit of money from the city of New Hall, but they're mostly donations.
So I did put the notice out to the paper, so it should be in there today, actually. So from 60 days from now, the earliest we can have our first reading will be April 25th. And then the second reading would be May 2nd. And then the third and adoption of that resolution could be on May 9th. And then also on the 9th, I thought we could put appoint members to the advisory council. Because then I'll have to publish another notice for that too. So, and I already shared all the information you requested from me.
Okay.
I already got all that to a couple different people from
Yeah.
Jones County. and everything.
Yeah, they're into this already.
Mm-hmm, yep. And I did talk to her, and that's kind of how she said that they're doing this allocation right now. Which makes sense a little bit now.
So how's that gonna work like for Blairstown if they got their own ambulance and that's all going under the county then after?
So what it'll do is every ambulance in the county that serves or whatever, then that advisory council committee look at how many calls they did, or if you guys had a need for equipment or something, then you would come forward to the advisory council, and then we would submit claims, and then we're gonna pay those claims out.
Sorry.
So that way there's still tracking back and forth where the claims go in and out of from that fund.
I could not believe how many different ambulances that actually haul
I should have brought that now.
people in Benton County. You got Center Point up here, Trayer, Geyser.
Let me pull up that map on here. Did I
Okay.
do?
We just throw people in the car head to the hospital. If that's what you need. I mean, just by the time the ambulance gets out there, people be dead. I mean, I shouldn't say that, but I mean, like, let's say you got a broken finger or broken leg or something. We get moving.
Well, that's one thing, but then if you have a stroke though, they get that clot buster in you.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
knock off the paralysis, and you only got an hour from when we first had that stroke to get that medicine in you.
I had one, they couldn't give it to me because I didn't know when it started, because it started at night whenever I was sleeping, so nobody could give it to me. I got hell when I got to the doctor because I took a bunch of aspirin.
And blood out.
So do you want to set a date of April
Yes.
25th?
April 25th would be the first, and I think I put 9:30 on all the times. And then
May
the second and May 9th.
May 9th. Okay. Make a motion that we set those three public hearings.
Well, they're gonna be like consideration
Okay.
readings,
Those
kind of like
three
when we do an ordinance.
dates for readings,
Mhm.
those 3 dates, that's my motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, that's a chunk of change
Yeah, it is.
based on this valuation that I just dug out that Larry had. 35 cents.
It amounts to quite a bit of money.
For $1,000.
What's that?
Per 1,000.
Per 1,000, yeah. So, I mean, it's a chunk of change. So,
Well, their defense, I was kind of surprised. You know, they do send a bill out, the ambulances do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They said on a good year, they get 40% back on the bills.
so is this the EMS that's for, is it fire?
No,
And-
no,
That's
fire.
just
essential
ambulance.
service, yeah.
Just
It's just like first responder to ambulance service.
Okay.
That's whereas like the benefit of fires, we have boundaries for tax districts, and that's why they only get that portion off of what they cover. But this would be a little different.
'Cause see, that's what they talked about that night at the meeting, though. They were thinking that everybody was gonna come, the different entities and ask for what they want, their
Yeah.
needs list, you know.
Yeah.
And I suggested, no, I don't think you need to do that, because I think you could have somebody come and ask for something that they need that's really expensive and drain your funds down, and then everybody else in the county's gonna suffer, because
Well,
that entity got all the money.
2 ambulances and it's spent.
Yeah, well, see, that's what I suggest, to make it fair, and that was my opinion, I said they should go on the previous year, how many calls they had, how many patients they hauled, you know. And then it also got brought to my attention how to work this out, and I said, well, that's gonna be up to this board that we appoint. Like, I'll use my town, Newhall, for instance. The first ones that show up is the first responders. And then the last one that shows up, of course, is the ambulance. So now you got 2 entities there at one place, so I said, that'll be up to the board to figure out, excuse me, how much, you know, what gets divided
Sure.
between the 2.
Yeah.
To me, that board's decision.
And
To make it fair.
one supervisor has to serve on that.
Yeah, one super.
Just throwing that out there.
Next.
So for budget work, I did sit down, or Nancy and I had a Zoom with Heartland on the insurance coverage. You know, that schedule we passed around to all the departments. So I was curious on worst case scenario. So for example, if we take all those recommendations for the higher coverage on everything and increase contents by 20%, we just picked them out. We're looking at about 40,000 extra.
Increase.
So, I don't know if you want me to just throw that amount in there for now. I mean, I know our renewals, since I'm doing the budget now, but this doesn't start till July 1st, but we kind of have to give them the changes now with the guesstimation, so. I don't know what you guys' thoughts were on like courthouse and those.
Oh, quite honestly, insurance is insurance. It's not worth a damn unless you need it
Right.
or use it.
The replacement cost, right?
Yeah. And if you pose that question to Marshall County, they would jump all over that, you know. And
We've
have you,
been through some pretty bad stuff in this county.
well, I think their courthouse was demolished.
And then kind of try to rebuild and then, yeah, they just kept getting into more and more expenses.
And so, yeah. So what do you do?
I know I talked quite a bit about Thursday at our Zoom meeting, and they sent me some information, which I got with me today. These new towers. I wasn't very happy at the meeting when I found this out. I guess I disagree with it, but you know, we need to, right now, we're okay. We never did have insurance on Rogers, the old tower that's gone now. We never did have insurance.
While it's
We
being
got-
constructed, the
Yeah, we
contractor
got my,
would
like,
have
that, you know, we
insurance.
didn't have no
Sure.
problem, so no
Mhm.
biggie. But moving forward now, you know, I believe they were supposed to start yesterday, and I never got no emails or nothing, I don't know, but they're supposed to start out Rogers yesterday. Putting the frames together on the ground and start stacking that one there. Once these towers are up,
And they're turned over to us.
they're ours. Even though there's no antennas, no dishes, or nothing on them, they're ours. I disagree with that. I still think, in my personal opinion, the job ain't complete, so they should be carrying the insurance on it. And, you know,
Yeah, so even if there's a pile of our supplies just laying on the ground, that's on us.
yes. So that's something that we're gonna have to work on here next couple weeks.
And we really need insurance. Somebody can come out there, or car can hit it.
Well, they're
Yeah,
asking.
probably
They're all
not.
gonna no car
Yeah.
in it, but.
Yeah.
Cause I know that was one of the, I wouldn't say his name, but, Norway. Them towers were already, the frameworks were all put together, and you've seen it, the towers are laying there. So now they were saying on the meetings as well, we should have a fence up around there, so no kids climb on it, and then bend the runs on that one there while it's laying there.
Those
So-
kids aren't that heavy.
And then like every one of those buildings too has a generator and contents in that one,
Right,
correct?
and see, they won't come until probably June. So we'll have to insure the towers, even though they're a dead horse standing there.
Sure.
What if they're not even standing? They're there.
Technically, yeah, well, the way the discussion went Thursday was once they're up.
Once they're in place.
Yes.
So that,
Because I would think if they're laying there, that would still be somewhat of the construction company's responsibility.
So what happens if something happens while they're going up?
That's the construction company's insurance.
those might not have actually been included in all that, was it?
What's that?
The towers in
Yeah.
there, like, are they all in there?
Yes,
Okay, just making sure because she said that she was checking with
yes.
staff, okay, making
Yeah.
sure.
And then I was asking, what do you insure them for? Do you insure them for what they're costing right now to put up? You know what it's costing the taxpayer? Which is a lot higher than what we got insurance on these new towers
Oh,
now.
yeah, look at the difference, what, we have like 50,000 and we're talking 150 to
180,
288
yeah.
on some? Yeah.
Well, they should be, to be very honest, you know. They should be insured for that replacement when they're brand new.
Yeah,
Most of the time it's lightning.
so then when I get
Or
to,
like the Kirkwood Tower. It blew over in that tornado in 16. You know,
so I was trying to get away with always going back to the insurance company, say, add this, add this, add this.
Mhm.
But I don't foresee any way, otherwise, to me, you'd be paying, if we throw a figure out there on each one of these tower sites, and the sheds ain't there, the equipment ain't there, that's kind of, my opinion, it's kind of stupid.
And you can't insure something that ain't there.
Right.
You would like to wait until it's all in place and then insure it, is what you're saying?
Well, no, once the tower's up, I guess I'm looking, it could be 5 different times we contact insurance, all right? Well, two of the towers are up now, that we ain't touching, just gonna reinforce it. Down here, Traegers and Bell Plain. They're on the list right now. But the other 3, we have to insure them once they go up. Call Heartland and say, hey, they're up. Put a number on them, done. Then when the building comes and the components go in the buildings, then you're gonna have to call 3 different calls again for them components to raise the value on the components in the shed.
But that's pretty typical, when you're constructing something, you tell the insurance company that you're under construction, and as you finish something up, then you contact them and say, okay, now add this much value.
So this is where the talk comes, because I was with the conservation again last night, builder's risk insurance. So maybe we should have builder's risk insurance right now for the towers. Well, we're not the general on this. County is not, Great County is.
So you got those emails this morning too, right? You just got more from the builders with
No,
the conservation.
yeah, well, yeah, she sent one out last night.
Yeah, there's more, we just got some back and forth this morning,
Okay, them I haven't seen.
Okay.
Them I haven't seen.
just making sure you saw those.
No, but anyway, that's what I was dealing with.
Okay.
Cause is that where you changed the amount?
We lowered it,
450
yeah, 420,
or
425, isn't it?
425,
Okay,
so it looks like 1,659.
I'll comment more on that when we get to reports. I have to read.
Well, since the 9:30 you won't be here, that I know of.
Might as well jump into your reports, huh?
I'll let you go report.
Might as well jump into your reports.
Okay. Wednesday, I met Wednesday afternoon, all afternoon with Larry, and went over to the bids, that come in for the conservation. You know, and kind of separated, clarified all the bids to make sure everybody was bidding apples to apples. Got a spreadsheet done, and, I guess I'll continue on with that. So then last night we had the conservation bid and accepted the bids for different projects, you know, of the building. I can pass these out. But what I'm kind of happy with, I won't bore you with everything. I'll just give you the main sheet. That's the total bid of what it's supposed to cost,
Okay.
okay? Now, as for the builder's risk insurance, this I call that the wish list.
Hey, I'm sorry, they're not changing the flag now. Flagpole and banner.
They're getting a new one,
Oh.
that's what that is. understand why, Shelby wants to, you know, you're gonna put a building up and basically you ain't got too much to put in. You know what I mean?
That'll change.
Well, I know that, but I mean, they're adding it into the total cost. So when it comes to the builder's risk insurance, I subtract, you'll see this one right here, I
Okay,
call it the wish list. I subtract it off the total cost,
great.
you know, and then that put it down. And then also like we didn't need, my opinion, builder's risk insurance on the septic tank system. I won't touch that.
You wanna touch it today?
So, you know, that knocked off another 20,000, you know, off the total project.
Sure.
So that's where, and then I added another, talked them in, added another 25,000 for unseen, expenses.
Mhm.
You know, so that's where the builder's risk insurance that they're applying for is for 425. They had a bid for 550, and that was 2,000 and some dollars for a year.
Right there, the 2148.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
so. And then that's the funds that they have on hand right now.
They get a portion of the lost revenue, don't they?
That's what that top figure is.
Yep, yep.
That's 2 years of the loss.
Okay,
And then what they also been saving to put the building up.
sure.
So you got enough money to actually
Basically
pay
do
it
it.
all.
And I did talk with the auditors instead of doing the capital project, he said it was fine to do it out of that little acquisition.
Okay, now what Shelby wants to know, she'll be contacting you. She won't be spending these funds, of course, until after July. She wants to be able to carry the funds that they got right now, the numbers that she gave me last night, over till July. So do we have to do a
We'll do that
budget
resolution.
amendment?
Well, if she's not spending it currently this fiscal year, she's just gonna carry over that spending authority, we'll have to do that resolution. But we gotta look at this fiscal year 24 budget to make sure she's got allocated spending authority.
Okay. So you and her work that out.
But I was talking with, like, I know Ron mentioned budget amendments, so we might actually have to do another one this fiscal.
Well, see, that's what I told her last
He
night.
went over what he said in the food and gas, so
Yes. That's what I was saying last
I
night.
need to look at my elections budget.
Like I said, you know, you're not gonna need this money till after July 1, anyway, you know, for the big, but,
Yeah,
we'll have some of it spent here in May and June, because they're shooting, their start actually the 1st of April on this project.
cause yeah, then we'll do, to make sure if we have to do a transfer of funds for loss to that conservation land acquisition, so yeah, I need to get it.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. 'Cause I mentioned that, I said you'll probably be doing a budget amendment
Yeah, cause if we.
for Ron anyway, here probably in May or
Well, probably
early June.
maybe even April,
Okay.
cause we can't go, we have to do it before they go over actually.
Okay.
I think they're pretty high on their, that's why, they're pretty high on their LP stuff. I mean,
What's that, tank? No,
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 no.
you gotta price them.
I just bought one.
You did?
I had to go over to Illinois or Wisconsin
Oh,
to get
well,
it. I
Jesus.
mean,
Okay.
they got tanks over there like there's no tomorrow.
You know, around here they're expensive, 'cause, we're buying them for the towers.
Yeah.
You are,
Yep.
how many?
4 of them,
How big?
500s.
These are like new tanks, they're good tanks.
Oops. Out of order.
You're fine, it don't, just for your information. But
Yeah.
I was tickled that they got the money.
Yes.
I'm kinda tired of ARPA.
Uh-huh.
Pretty soon ARPA is gonna be gone. I wanna,
No more.
I wanna be,
I hear
I
that.
could probably get 3,000 gallon tanks for $6,500. They're used.
alright, well. I guess I talked about the Zoom on the towers. Conservation, EMS, pretty well hit it all.
Okay.
Okay,
Sorry.
nothing?
No.
Any meetings?
I can get bunched up.
92.
So I told you the Senate file 181 passed.
Yep.
So when I get back today, I'm gonna work on amending the evaluation report. So it shouldn't affect too many townships, because I know some of them have already done their budget, so. More for the cities
VA had their budget rework. You seen that?
and Senate development.
I also got copies of the sheriff's and the
And
county
also, I don't
attorneys.
know, Kara sent me, maybe she's. Please note that pursuant to Iowa Code Chapter 35B.61A, the Commission shall recommend the compensation of the Executive Director or Administrator and all employees of the County Veterans Affairs Office to the Board of Supervisors. The Board of Supervisors shall consider the recommendation and shall determine and approve the compensation of the Director. So it's contrary to Conservation Board and other places over there.
I will show you that from the back, very back. Let's got into quite a long topic last night. There's 6% conservation, all of Shelby. Okay? At 1%, what we agreed on 5% for everybody else, in that figure right there, as you see. Texture. She's only taking 3%. So she's saving the other figure right there.
Sorry.
You, got all the departments that you wanted to, so I can run all this for you guys and know. Cause this is how I'll run it, and it just blends them all together.
Okay? I'm waiting for Rich 2 cents there. In a second, we'll go for
Cause then I'll bump the insurance up or whatever. I just wanted to make sure you guys go out, worry about
Okay, so this is the numbers there that they would go with.
it. That's what they're going with right now. This is that.
It
Top
was,
number is that 1% extra higher than what we said. That's what that 1% is.
that's what 1% is. This is,
We said 5, they want 6.
that's what it would
1%.
cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what she's saving, she's only getting a 3% raise.
Yeah. Go back to my scenarios. The problem is you've got 1% here, 2% there. I'm thinking of 4% on another one. Another one's got 5% difference. You know, we just need to get really need to get the ducks in a row, for a polite way of putting it. You know, it's all over the board. I don't know that I've ever seen it like this.
Till this afternoon.
I don't think it's gonna be as goofy as this is coming in this thing. So. That's my 2 cents is, oh, okay, that's only that much for 1% difference, and she's not increasing hers, so it's a savings, but like I said, it's all over.
The way I see it, let's say she takes 3, whatever. Anyway, then next year, she's behind, and the next year, she's behind, the next year, the next year.
Yeah, I know. It's like I said, it's the first time I've seen it in my, time frame here, 6 years, that, it's been helter-skelter like this. And I don't think it's right. That's my opinion. Morning.
It's raining.
They had another meeting, so the 9:30 was scratched off till next week. Oh, but Ray said he's in, it was best to be here for the meeting.
So the insurance, we'll get back to that for a second. For the insurance though, it's 40,000 more if we take
All
their estimated.
and then increase the contents, but we just pick them out 20%. We have in Judy.
And some of those buildings are too low.
Some are, but I guess, one of the things that stand out to me, like, we got 100,000 on the dog pound. They're suggesting 169,000. I take the cash on either one. That's,
Yeah, we own it, but it's being used.
Yeah.
And see, I ranch, I think that one. I don't know, so you guys tell me, like, I mean, we don't have to go with that, but some guidance, because I think they want those numbers back to them the latest March 15th. But for the worst case budgeting, I just needed the amount.
I'd recommend that that's what you do for the budget.
And we shared that little digital booklet with the other departments too, because some of those descriptions, you're looking at it, but then they can match it up to that book where it had the pictures, and then it's itemed out with the number. So I told them also if they wanted to rename something on there, that way they know next year they know exactly what it is. And just try to clean it up a little bit. Always look at those. Maybe share, I should say. You got me all your, wage changes on the budget, right? You did that.
I sent back in
Yep, I'm pretty sure yours is one of those already sent out.
I got mine as well as the hub.
Yep.
Do I need to redo anything with you guys for that? For the changing numbers?
Already.
Well, I came in and presented initial one,
Oh.
but that was before,
Then yes,
Because
that's why I'm
May-
thinking we need to do that.
because May said to change the bottom line, not just work the numbers.
Yep.
And so I didn't know if I needed to represent.
We could probably look at that and then
Okay.
we can, also.
Because I mean, it was, I want to say a difference of a couple $1,000s in both. Yeah. It wasn't huge. Yeah, it wasn't massive, but I know like Deb had specifically told all the coordinators to not basically put any padding whatsoever to like make it as close as physically possible, which is why there wasn't room to like just keep the bottom number the same because
Yeah, that's what she submitted to the region.
so the updated ones that May had said change the bottom dollar versus work it in, so that's what went to the regional governing board for approval. So. And I resubmitted to them and got the okay before I sent it to you, so that way it wasn't never mind, you changed the mind.
Yeah.
So.
On the insurances, like the premium, that just gets paid out of the county itself, right? It don't, yeah, and it don't go to each individual
The only
department.
one that would be due is secondary roads, we have that one, but the rest of them we can't insure.
You wanna start looking, a lot of the big changes are conservation. Not we-
Right, and they've been looking over theirs pretty heavily.
Yeah.
So, again, that will be one to, we're gonna get some back changes to. Morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Present and accounted for.
Well, mornings, you're running out everywhere.
Mhm.
Is no one here?
I only said hi when you first came in.
Oh, that's a plan, you
Keeping busy in your new job?
heck yeah.
I was gonna say, have you had a down day since you started?
It's kind of starting to fall into a rhythm finally. It was just so much to get caught up on when I first got there. So hopefully I'm working my way to whatever normal is.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Maybe you need some music or something.
I know, you might not like my kind of music.
Really?
You need an Alexa in here to tell what to play.
Okay, Mona. Ready to get situated?
I'm good. I'm good.
You good?
So May and I met with, or was it last week or the week before, the 13th, so whenever that was, I think last week. So historically, actually I'm gonna back up. Do any of you know who Bethany Wheaton is? We're gonna start with that.
Can't say that I play cards with her, but
Okay.
she's been, with the county for a number of years.
Yep, okay, so she's the mental health advocate. So she's been an employee of Benton County since July 1st of 2015, okay? So prior to me, I don't know what happened. So previously, she used to be under the MHDS office. Something happened with her and Carol. I don't know exactly what it was. But it then got shifted to she got put under Dave, okay?
Under
So,
who?
Dave Thompson. So he has been her supervisor since 2016. So there's nowhere, anywhere in any board minutes and anything that was where that came from or how that came to be or that was a formal approval. I don't have any idea. So when May and I met with Ray last week, of basically, is that somebody that he wanted to stay under her, put back under MHDS because she's under my budget? His answer was no. And I know at some point between when Dave was leaving and now, Kirsten has been signing off on her timesheets, and Kirsten had said that that was approved through the board, but I couldn't find anything with that either, so I don't know how that came to be. But she's been signing off on timesheets since January 1st, I think. So what May and I would like is for Bethany to be put back under the MHDS supervision, because at this point, I did a lot of research and it's kind of like chasing a ghost. There's not a lot out there. Things have not been being done the way that they're supposed to, and there's no, there'll be an MOU coming to you guys. I think it gets signed this month, so probably in March, regarding what things that the advocates are required to do for the region, because the region funds their 100% of their salary.
Do you want me to share that with them?
Yeah, if you want. One of those things is that all documentation is to be in CSN. CSN is basically the county, state's electronic health record. So as part of that, the county attorney's office, HR don't have access to that system. So there's no accountability. There's no way to go in and go, hey, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing, sort of a thing. And the vast majority of other counties, I think there's only a couple counties that the advocate is not underneath the county coordinator, and that's actually kind of in the process of, some of those are in the process of changing as well. So that's kind of what we're proposing and what May and I would like to have happen. And I know, Ray, I don't want to speak for you, but Ray was in support of that as well.
I don't have an interest in supervising her, and I got enough to do.
And it's a conflict of interest,
Kind of, yeah.
or could be seen as a
It
conflict
could be
of
if she
interest.
has something in the mental case or something.
Yeah. So questions that you guys have or concerns or
So her budget or whatever payment comes out of your budget?
Yep, it always has. So
Is that the region's budget or the county?
the region's budget. Region pays 100% of her salary, just like they do mine. So the other issue that I have found, so since I have been here, there might have been 1 year that she went over the allotted budget. So I know what she started with, I now know what she makes kind of hourly now, but I've done the budget since 2018, 2019, and no one has ever come and talked to me and said, hey, her salary's this or her salary's that. So I've just budgeted the same thing every year because it's never gone over that. But I can't realistically budget very well if I have no idea what she's making, what her hours are, because I had none of that up until last week. I had none of that information. So.
A lot of times her timesheets would come in a cluster too.
Yes, so beginning of December, she was turning timesheets in dating back to like October. And that has historically been what has happened, is they'll just come in clumps. I think since the first of the year, that has improved, but that's just been since the first of the year.
So what are you asking?
So we want to have it, because like I said, there's no record anywhere of any switching of supervisors prior, so I want it kind of formally on record that the supervision of the advocate go back under the MHDS, which is me. And so I would be responsible for timesheets, accountability, all that kind of stuff to ensure that the people of Benton County are getting the advocate services that they should have been getting for the last 6 years. That has, I can't honestly say that has consistently happened because I don't know, because there's not documentation anywhere other than a timesheet. For the last 2 years, we have asked for names because that's what goes in CSN to be able to bill correctly. Up until the state contacted her, I've got an email from the state. They contacted her in August, basically requesting the required documentation that's supposed to go to the state. It took her 2 months to reply to them. She finally replied to them in November, and it was October, November was when she started sending in names for the first time, so she's been regular. So just that accountability piece hasn't been there, and I want to ensure, if the region dollars are paying for a service, that service is happening, that the people that are supposed to be being served in Benton County are getting what they're supposed to. So that's my request today.
Messages. Double tap to open.
This is one side. I would recommend that maybe we hear the other side. Why has she been so long turning in her timesheet? Back when it was with Carol, there was some problems. You weren't here. Yeah, you weren't here. And so Dave took the supervision, under his wing, and I could see where, Ray being new in his position, kind of get overwhelmed to begin with, especially. And so, I'd like to hear from her, the pros and cons of going back to what it was. I'm sure she's got input.
I wouldn't mind hearing from her, but I guess I agree with Mona. If they're the ones that are paying for it and budgeted, they should know what's going on.
Yeah, I just think we should hear her out, what's.
So who will
What's the-
request her to begin with, to follow up with these cases?
Where do her cases come from?
Yeah.
So I talked to, Julie with the clerk of court, so anytime anybody is court ordered, they have to have an advocate attached to them. And so when I talked to Julie, she said she knows her name, she sends her the people, but she's never seen her in the courthouse, never any of that, so I don't know, but that's how they get attached to anybody who's, court order, gets.
And this is a part-time position basically, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking.
If you get done, if you want me to continue supervising, I will, but I'm not sure I'm the best person to do it. But I'll do it if that's what you want.
Well, I think that's conflict of interest.
I do too.
Well, and you're still, unfortunately, it's one of those things that and this is why we're trying to streamline it, because it makes it kind of convoluted, because he has no access to the system that she's supposed to be putting her information. So he'll still have to contact me saying, hey, can you go in, can you check that she's done X, Y, Z to make sure she's doing X, Y, Z? And then so that adds kind of that additional layer, basically, so we're just trying to kind of streamline things, because there are changes with the MOU, things like that, and requirements for what the region is requesting. And I know that there have historically been issues with Carol, and that seems to be it was Carol. Carol's not here anymore. Carol hasn't been here. So that's my struggle of do we need to keep operating as if Carol's here?
I
So,
just think we need to know pros and cons.
and I don't disagree with that, I'm just,
I mean, I don't think that's too much to ask. If we can reach out and see if she can come in and talk with us, you know, as a board. You know,
so, cause I can email her, today, and is that an open session or a closed session? That is,
I don't know,
I guess,
say it
I don't know how that
probably
works.
Closed if
Yeah.
we have the right, wouldn't you,
If
Ray?
she does the right to request a close, yes.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah, I think it'd be smart to hear it out.
Or you could talk to her. Wouldn't you have to be in an open meeting?
Yeah, and I don't mind talking to her. I just don't like being, if there is something to come in and say, yeah, but she doesn't want this, she doesn't want that. It doesn't work this way, it doesn't work that, you know, I think it's best if she'd come and talk to us all. That, with Mona, with Ray, you know, if you guys are available.
But I can shoot her an email today and see if, does next week work for you, Ray?
I'm here at like 11:30.
Well, that's, yeah, depending, we don't have much on the agenda. at all next week.
I'm in juvenile court next Tuesday because Megan's doing deposition for the murder case. So 2 weeks would be better,
Yeah.
but I just don't know what availability is gonna be till late morning.
Well, and I can see if she can do it, because that might be better notice for her anyway, for 2 weeks from now.
The worst case scenario, I was gonna ask you guys if the agenda stays light and he needs it on later, maybe we can start our meeting later next week.
Or just do it 2 weeks.
Or do it all in 2 weeks.
Yeah, if you want, that's fine.
2 weeks, it's fine.
Okay.
I don't, there's nothing that
That'll give
drastic hurry that I can see.
So March 7th, you're thinking.
I just don't want to be put in a situation where I said, she said, you know, kind of thing, and I think that's silly. So I just, yeah.
We can wait.
So,
Yep, and
I'll put it tentatively on for March 7th, keep it towards the end for both of the things anyway. So,
You're here for them, right? 7?
Yes,
and he's gone, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
so then is there anything in particular that either she needs to bring in with her, that you guys need from me in regards to anything that day? Documentation wise or otherwise?
My mind is so foggy from what happened years ago that, you know, with this, I do remember it went under, you know, county attorney's, you know, department, but yeah, let's go back, if we could, please.
I will go email her right now and see what comes up.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Ray, I moved that other one too, also for,
Another one now.
yep, the 7th.
You might be in a bigger hurry than I am on that.
Okay, well, or we could, yeah,
I'll pop in. I'm
okay,
go right now, so.
all right. Thanks.
Garbage can right there, sir.
I know you got the list, but the insurance,
Mhm.
have you looked over it much?
That's how I knew that we had several that were way undervalued.
Do you guys want me to send you that digital where it shows the pictures of the buildings and stuff too to match it?
No.
Or let me see. I mean, we have time, if you guys want to look it over this week, I'm gonna go ahead and put the worst case scenario in mind.
Okay.
We don't spend that much, but.
So that, to me, I think we can, some things I can see jacking the price up, courthouse one, service, I have no problem with. But I have a big problem jacking it up on the dog pound.
Yeah.
$30,000.
Well, I didn't say that this was anything
Yeah.
perfect by any means, you know.
But,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, to me, that's,
And I I'm even concerned that the courthouse is probably even undervalued yet, you know, but.
You know, and then like a lot of the, I won't be picking on the conservation, you know, the shower houses, the pavilions, you know, I just,
But
You
again,
know, really-
you see what it's costing to put them in the buildings, you don't wanna have to go through
Or a
that.
cement block. I mean, what's it gonna take to get rid of it, or blow them down or something? You might lose a roof or something,
your tree could fall on, you know, I mean, that'd be, or a car run into them. And that was one of my questions that, if you go back to, Zoom meeting on the towers. These buildings that they're gonna put the equipment in are all concrete buildings. You know, so I said, all right, does the building need to be insured? Well, I'm thinking concrete building that they're gonna drop off, can we insure the contents, the equipment, but not the building?
Why wouldn't you insure the building?
What did happen to them?
Roof can blow off.
They're all cement.
It's a concrete roof.
Correct.
The building is in a cave or what?
More or less.
you could put up towers, cement towers around the building so the car can hit them. It'd be cheaper than the insurance.
So the buildings are 7,000, you know what I mean, so, for that concrete. Well, there was quite a long discussion on the tower, so.
And if in fact a car hit them, whose fault would it be? It ain't gonna be the building's fault.
Now, well, I can vouch for this, back when US Cellular had a tower out in Lagoons, my new home. Some kids were having a party and they took the car and they rammed the side of that cement building that the components were in, and they caved the building in, okay? No insurance in the car. So see, it cost US Cellular to put a new shed there. And you get let out of insurance from these young kids. So,
It's hard to insure for,
well,
it's not hard, you can insure for every possible
that's just
thing, it just becomes unaffordable.
Yes. There's a time in there you gotta say enough is enough, and
I think
Yeah.
we need a new building anyway.
it wasn't that old.
Well, I agree with the, you know, VFW where they're located, I mean, that's
But do they cover insurance too for their own things, I'm listening?
their content, I would,
I would say,
it would make sense, but, you know,
I don't know.
yeah.
How soon do you need a new building anyway? By the time you get done paying all the insurance, you're gonna pay for the building and you don't have nothing. I don't know.
What I would recommend you do is go ahead and take this sheet, have her go ahead and put the 40 grand in her budget. But then you look the sheet over and mark what you think needs to be changed. Whether it's up or down. I'm done with this.
because, you know, they got the towers on there, but I mean, we're gonna have more expense on the towers, that's gonna be coming above and beyond, so.
Yeah,
To me, even
There's gonna
if,
be changes.
yeah, so even if we knock down some of the prices, what they suggested, you know, yeah, we'll save from that 40,000 input, but when the towers come back in there, what,
Or even like from VFW 169, but some of those sheds are down there to Zilcho. You gotta balance them out, but again, you can't overpay on some and underpay on some others. You gotta try to, I'd mark the changes. It's not a big deal.
Myron's got all these steel, maintainer sheds in the county, they're all steel. You know, you got them at 50,000, well, I'll guarantee you can't put that thing up for 50,000. And realistically, today's market, I don't think you can put them up for 96,000, what they say. So there again, that's.
Yeah.
You know, and there's 13 of these sheds.
I know.
So when they get hit by a road grader,
Only in the winter time. Never during the summer.
Get your sheet back and mark it. That'd be the smart thing to do. Okay. Is there anything else?
No, that's it.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next meeting